So we kick things off in this VIP delivery room where this magazine-addicted blonde Karen is about to pop out a baby, but her patience runs thin and she starts barking at the nurses like, "Get this kid out of me already." Then suddenly, a baby's cry echoes through the place, and some kiss-ass staff member rushes out to congratulate the grandfather. And I mean, everyone starts congratulating this old geezer like he did all the work, then turns to the maid like, "Yo, where's my disappointment of a son it though?" The maid drops that classic excuse, "Oh yeah, young master had some urgent business on Earth." This ancient fossil starts going off about how his son's a complete deadbeat father right there at the celebration, but then this strange scream pierces through from inside the delivery room. The cane-carrying boomer jumps up like, "What in the cultivation realm is happening in there?" Meanwhile, inside the room, magazine Karen's eyes go wide from this bright light flashing right in her face like she's getting interrogated. When Grandpa and his whole geriatric squad burst through those doors, they all freeze like somebody hit pause on their life support. The light's coming from the newborn, who's wrapped in yellow lightning like he just signed a sponsorship deal with Pikachu. And the baby's thinking to himself, bet nobody expected a regular dude to spawn into this rich family and unlock legendary powers day one. A whole system screen materializes like it's a video game, hitting him with lightning-type divine sense activated, sea-level power. The fossil's jaw drops because his grandson just spawned with abilities he never unlocked in 70 years of grinding. This decrepit old man's so shook he drops his cane and starts hollering like, "This unparalleled innate divine sense, my grandson. Our clan finally produced a once-in-a-generation genius." However, the baby's thinking, "Imma used this to take everything from this clan and make sure my deadbeat dad never reincarnates again." The simp maids are going, the young master's already smiling and didn't even cry, sign of a noble destiny. Meanwhile, the senile elders promising, "We'll use the full power of the clan to raise you properly." Now, our MC reflects that these last 6 months since his scumbag snake dad took him out felt like a fever dream. 1 month after reincarnating, this ditzy blonde mom is drinking this special tonic from her brown-nosing maid. The moment she downs it, powerful golden light erupts all over her body. He gained accelerated growth ability and hit D level while still an embryo. He's thinking, commoners can never match clan power. I already reached what broke peasants die trying to achieve. 2 months later, he faced an absorption crisis from the mother's original embryo, but got a reward. Using accelerated growth, he devoured the original embryo like it's a battle royale. He snagged its innate lightning-type divine sense. He's hyped, like lightning type is one of the rarest elemental abilities. Imma drain this family's premium resources and get even stronger. 3 months later, his lightning divine sense hit intermediate stage. Now things get sketchy. His mom's got some late-night visitor situation happening. The guest asks, "Aren't you worried about getting caught?" And this shameless lady goes, "My marriage is just a political arrangement anyway, so whatever." The fetus overhears this and complains, "All this late-night drama is tanking my energy absorption rate, so what does this menace do?" He dumps massive energy all at once, making her complain, "It's burning me from the inside." At 6 months, his power maxed out at peak D level, and he understood this unfaithful woman's constitution completely. Then we see this pretty boy, handsome face watching with cold eyes. This serene-looking backstabber stares at the woman's belly thinking, "When's this darn brat gonna be born already?" Inside the womb, MC's eyes snap open, glaring at his father with pure hatred. Through his vision, he locks onto this snake's face like, "You filthy mutt." Now the flashback that explains everything. His coward friend gets defeated and cries out for help while the young man just watches. Unfortunately, this pathetic loser gets devoured by this hideous monster. But here's the twist. This psycho traitor with the fakest friendly face orders his cronies, feed the beast to form the spirit core. This manipulative snake smirks maliciously, watching his victim about to be defeated like it's entertainment. The young man spots a giant spike coming at him. His former companion, this two-faced backstabbing rat, impales him with a huge branch, hoisting him up with zero mercy. The protagonist looks at the wound in his chest, shocked. This cackling hyena starts laughing hysterically like, "That's what happens when a nobody like you overestimates his own pathetic strength." As he's thrown away, the young man yells, "You conniving bastard tricked me just to feed the beasts." But as he's passing on, his only worry is, what will happen to my younger sisters? He remembers saying goodbye to one of them, promising, "I'll be home soon, don't worry." His past self grabs a weapon and leaves for the mission. The door closes, and 3 innocent little girls are left waiting. Looking at the moon through the window, the girls wonder, when will Big Brother come back? Back in the present as a fetus, he fills with rage and swears, "Revenge on this scum who separated me from my sisters." Then this baby lands a solid punch right in the traitor's smug face from inside the womb. The impact sends this overconfident fool flying across the room like a rag doll. The clueless blonde is shocked by the kick she felt. The boy's father, this disgraced loser, crashes to the ground in pain, going, "What the hell just happened to me?" The oblivious woman complains, "This brat's already acting up before he's even born." The worried fossil orders the nurse, "Check what's happening in that room now." The panicked staff explains, "The young master's talent is extraordinary. His development is accelerated beyond normal." She reveals, startled, "The baby's about to be born. The mother's going into labor right now." The boy thinks, "Before reincarnating, my limit was peak D level. Now I'm close to breakthrough." In pain, the screaming Karen yells, "Call the best delivery team as quickly as possible." When my man turned 1 month old, the fam threw this massive celebration banquet. Meanwhile, another guest congratulates the baby's pops while baby MC is just staring dead at this man, the same dude who took him down in his past life. He becomes furious seeing the enemy who separated him from his sisters, and straight up swears revenge right then and there. In his memories, he remembers his younger sisters all hyped about this giant birthday cake. In his past life, he was on the phone with the same man, who was complaining about him being late for a mission. Young dude apologizes, and this snake thinks he only hired him cause of rumors that he needed cash. The man tells him to use his brain, and young dude thanks him for the job opportunity. His sisters were waiting mad eager to eat that small piece of cake on the table. Big Bro says goodbye to one of them, promising he got a job but would be back soon. Then he grabs his weapon that was kept in a bag and gets ready to dip. The door closes, and the 3 little girls are left alone, anxiously waiting for his return. From the window, the girls watch the moon while waiting for their dear brother to come back. Elsewhere, some dude approaches this glowing portal in the middle of a dark forest. Smoking a cigarette is the same snake who was congratulating Baby's Pops at the party. Baby's Pops, who appears to be running this whole dangerous operation. With his goons by his side, Baby's Pops asks how the mission's going. The snake informs him they've been inside for a minute and the beasts should be well fed by now. Baby's Pops praises the snake, saying he was raised right and is always mad efficient. Then he turns to Baby's mom and says they came just for her before dipping, but the woman scoffs, saying he's just another lowlife trying to climb the ranks. With that, the group of snakes approaches the portal to leave this desolate spot. Meanwhile, one of our MC's companions warns him about some powerful beast nearby. Baby's Pops is surprised someone's still alive since he needs more food for the medicine. The snake says he don't know how that's possible since they were all just D-level soldiers. Suddenly, this super loud noise catches everyone's attention and they all look in the same direction. The group's leader assesses the situation with a serious look. Soon after, they see that one of the beasts got this fresh wound on its leg. The monster then glares at our MC who's standing alone in the middle of that wasteland. Despite being exhausted and injured, young dude stands firm, ready for the final battle. At that moment, one of the snakes slowly approaches. Baby's Pops demands to know where this thing came from and how it dared to injure his beast. Upon seeing the survivor, Baby's Pops is shocked and calls him Yi Chen. Young dude turns and calls out to the snake, not understanding what's going down. He asks if he brought reinforcements while the enemies are fleeing. Back in the present, Baby swears to avenge this blood feud at that very moment. He extends his arms and makes baby noises at the snake who's watching him mad and tense. The man is speechless and stammering, trying to understand what Baby wants from him. Baby's Pop says his son wants to be held and that this is the greatest honor of his life. With that, he picks up Baby and thanks him for the reward, while the little one pretends to cry. As soon as the man holds him, little dude starts releasing this yellow energy. Then he uses his lightning-type power to give his enemy a nasty shock. The snake screams in pain as the electric charge runs through his entire body. From the shock, he ends up dropping Baby, who falls hard onto the mansion floor. The women at the party are shook and look toward the noise. The musicians also stop playing, shocked by all the commotion. Baby's Gramps watches everything with this serious expression. With that, Baby's parents are shocked by what just went down. Little MC on the floor, the snake realizes he just messed up bad. Baby starts crying loud as hell to keep up appearances and fool everyone. The snake panics at the situation and starts breaking out in cold sweat, terrified of what might happen. Furious, Gramps yells at the man for daring to drop the family's treasure on the floor. The coward throws himself on the floor, saying it wasn't him and that young master acted on his own. But Baby's Pops don't believe him and kicks him hard, calling this dude a dog. The kick is so strong that Mans goes flying and lands hard on the mansion floor. He starts bowing and begging his master for mercy. He swears he would never hurt Baby and offers his treasures to heal him from the fall. Little dude's pops seems to be enjoying the whole situation and gives this mocking smile. Then the master orders them to drag Mans outside and give him a good beating. The snake thanks him for the punishment while the maid picks baby back up. In the woman's arms, little MC gives this evil satisfied smirk at the result. With a bruised forehead, the enemy stares on confused, not understanding what happened. Little dude continues to scream and cry loud to maintain his perfect disguise in front of everyone. The snake is shocked again that he started crying again. Gramps orders the maid to take young master inside and check if he got hurt in the fall. The elder scolds his son, saying that with the family's status, they don't need a useless bum like that. With a disdainful snort, the head of the family turns and leaves the party furious about the whole mess. Baby's pops is enraged by the old man's words and clenches the glass in his hand with mad force. He shatters the glass cup with his bare hands. The host turns and delivers a powerful kick right to the snake's face. Right after, he kicks him again and orders him to be dragged outside and fed to the house dogs. The host tells the guests to continue the party. The doctor examined little dude and says he got an incredible physique and is perfectly fine. Gramps laughs and celebrates that his grandson suffered no harm and is in excellent health. But the most important thing for baby now is to find his 3 sisters he left behind. He needs to grow up fast enough to move and get that woman's essence for power. The baby starts wailing for milk and the doc's attention. With that, Gramps orders them to call his daughter-in-law to breastfeed him and take more spiritual medicine. Baby's mom complaining that she just fed this little dude and is already running on empty. The family head says she gotta grind hard for the future of the clan and for the good of her son. The woman takes off her coat and gets ready to feed baby once more. Mom picks him up and stares at him with her red, tired eyes. She starts breastfeeding him and complains that this little menace is feeding way too aggressively. Seeing that his daughter-in-law is getting mad weak, Gramps orders them to bring her that tonic soup ASAP. Soon after, we see baby taking a bath with his mom in this hot spring. The woman complains that he's been feeding for mad long and asks if she owes him bread from a past life or something. 3 months later, baby's already crawling around the crib and his powers hit sea level. In his past life, it took him a whole year to advance from elementary D level to intermediate. Back then, he took part in many dangerous missions in portals and caught mad injuries. Now he's advanced from elementary C level to intermediate in just 3 months by drinking mama's milk. During a family dinner, little MC crawls towards the main table. Furious, Gramps complains that some idiot wasn't watching young master and let him run loose. The maid apologizes, saying baby crawls so fast she can't keep up with him. Baby's pops jokes that his son must want milk again, and mom looks absolutely cooked. She complains that baby's been feeding non-stop for 3 months straight and that she needs a break 4FR. But little dude thinks he can't waste time and needs to keep getting stronger and stronger. To everyone's surprise, baby stands up on his own for the first time. Gramps and the butler are completely shook, seeing this unbelievable sight before them. Baby starts walking towards his mom, who watches him all startled. Little dude jumps on her, and mom screams for him to let her eat 1 meal in peace, damn. The maid is astonished and points out that young master is standing and walking around the room by himself. The butler comments that baby got a celestial constitution and his development is straight up extraordinary. Gramps is pleased to see his grandson can already stand and watches him with mad pride. Then he says that according to family rules, it's time to select a personal servant for baby. In this dark spot, the elder asks about the results and a guard says only 2 left standing. In his mom's arms, MC gets taken to this improvised arena for the test. He's watching everything super intense when he suddenly recognizes one of the candidates and is shook. In a cell, this little girl with white hair is in a defensive stance looking terrified as hell. On the other side, a blonde girl charges forward, yelling to attack and body her opponent in the arena. Shocked, baby wonders what she's doing there, and his body begins glowing intensely. Then he uses his lightning-type power to zap one of the fighting girls, just straight up tases her. With the force of the shock, blonde girl goes flying and lands hard on the ground, knocked out cold instantly. The white-haired girl takes the chance to jump on the bread. Without a second thought, the girl grabs the bread and starts devouring it hungrily in the middle of the cell. Mom's hair is all standing on end from the static electricity. MC panics internally, hoping nobody caught anything sus. Gramps laughs and says his grandson got way more fighting spirit than his own father. Baby thinks that being a kid is low-key useful because adults always make up excuses for him. The elder decides the little girl will be the servant and orders her to be washed and taught etiquette. Little white-haired girl continues eating ferociously, not caring about anything else around her. Baby in the crib seems mad happy and calls out to his new servant with a smile on his face. Meanwhile, the butler explains that she's a death servant and must protect young master with her life. The little white-haired girl just nods her head, accepting her new fate. He also says she gotta follow the master and train in martial arts while he sleeps. With that, the little maid goes to Baby's room to start her new gig. Upon arriving, Baby calls to her and points to himself with this super excited smile. But yo, the girl pulls out a knife, and her expression changes to one full of hatred and vengeance. Baby panics and tries to speak, but can't cause of his baby vocal cords. She says she's gonna take him out to avenge her older brother's death right then and there. The girl raises the weapon and gets ready to attack little dude in his crib. The servant lunges with the knife at high speed, ready to hit her defenseless target. However, Baby dodges the blow with incredible agility and jumps out the crib like he phasing through reality. He lands on the floor, leaving behind an energy silhouette, much to the girl's surprise. Then, Baby reappears beside her, leaving her completely shocked and speechless. Suddenly, the girl starts releasing this green aura as she prepares to scrap. MC is shocked to see that the girl got wind-type divine sense. She's built different. With that, she attacks him with her wind power, but Baby uses his lightning to defend himself. The two energies clash, lighting up the entire room with their vibrant and intense colors. He thinks that using both his powers at the same time is too much for his baby body to handle. He got a brilliant idea to resolve this complicated situation though. So, Baby points and uses his Thunder Divine Sense at a very low power level. With that, a small spear of lightning hits the girl. The shock paralyzes her for a moment, and she falls to the floor, unable to move properly. Little dude seems relieved with the result, but is clearly mad tired from the effort. Lying on the floor, the servant can still feel the electricity running through her entire body. He approaches carefully and touches the sharp blade. Little dude cuts his finger on purpose, and a drop of blood appears on the tip. Then he uses his own blood to write a message on the floor for her. He thinks it's a good thing he's smart and managed to come up with this plan to communicate. Upon reading the message, the girl understands everything, and Baby opens his arms for a hug. But yo, the girl attacks him again, and Baby remembers she can't read yet. Meanwhile, the snake walks through the mansion holding this wooden box in his hands. In a flashback, Baby's pop says that he's only alive because he's still useful to him. Lying on the floor, Mans thanks young master for his mercy and promises to work harder. The master says Gramps is furious and that he gotta find a way to please Baby. The man thinks that he sold everything he had to buy this rare item at an auction. Suddenly, he hears Little Master's voice and wonders what's popping off in the room. With that, he opens the door and enters the room, calling for the heir of the family. Upon entering, he's met with the scene of the two of them chasing each other around the room. Seeing an opportunity, Baby glares at the man with this dark look and a plan in mind. The snake is completely confused, not understanding anything that's going down. Then Baby grabs the servant's hand and turns the knife. He uses his lightning power to give the white-haired girl a little shock on her forehead. She falls to the floor, and Baby catches the knife in midair, completing his perfect plan. Without hesitation, Baby stabs himself in the shoulder, and the knife becomes covered in blood. The snake is utterly shook by the scene and screams in terror. Next, Baby throws the bloodied knife towards the man watching him. The poor guy catches the weapon in midair and freezes in fear, not knowing what to do. In his shock, he ends up dropping the box he was holding. Then little MC takes a deep breath, preparing for his big performance. Soon after, he starts wailing mad loud on top of the fainted girl on the rug. The man holds the bloody knife, completely desperate about the whole situation. At the sound, Gramps and the others come running to see what went down. The elder and his son stare at the scene with serious expressions. Little dude keeps crying and leans on the servant to make it look like he protected her. Furious, Gramps points at the snake and accuses him of trying to attack his grandson. The man throws the knife on the floor and tries to defend himself, saying he wasn't the one to blame, but Baby's pops doesn't believe him and punches him for daring to hurt his son. Desperately, he explains that the girl attacked Baby and he defended himself. Baby continues his crying act while the snake screams in desperation with a bloody nose. He swears to the elder that he's telling the truth, but nobody seems to believe his story. Baby's pops hits him with another punch and furiously asks where the gift is. Desperate, the man looks for the gift he dropped on the floor during all the chaos. Gramps praises the little girl for protecting his grandson and orders her to be taken to rest. The elder places his hand on young master's shoulder, who tenses up. The elder glares at him, his red eyes glowing intensely with rage, looking absolutely demonic. He says he taught his son how to raise dogs, but he almost lost the family's hope. With that, the group leaves the room, leaving the snake kneeling on the floor, utterly terrified. The man starts breaking into cold sweat and trembling with fear of what might happen to him now. Suddenly, baby's pops turns and glares at him with this look full of hatred and contempt. He kicks him hard and says he gave him a chance, but he dared to try and hurt him anyway. The man tries to explain, but the master orders him to be dragged out and fed to the dogs. Seeing his plan succeed, little MC finally sighs in relief at the outcome. With a wound on his shoulder, little dude looks at the unconscious girl on the floor, worried. Just then, the butler approaches and says he gotta take the servant to be treated ASAP. But he panics when he remembers he wrote a message on the floor right under her. So, baby lies down on top of the girl and shakes his head to stop the man from taking her. The staff member then picks up little master, lifting him off the unconscious girl. With that, the butler places him back in the crib while baby looks mad distressed. Seeing that the man is about to pick up the servant, he wonders if he should knock him out with an electric shock. Suddenly, an idea strikes him, and he looks towards the maid with a new plan in mind. The staff member picks up the little girl, and a pool of blood is left on the bedroom floor. MC is shocked to see that the servant is also genuinely injured. Seeing the blood stain on the girl's clothes, the butler is also very surprised. Little dude is confused by the situation and doesn't understand how she could have gotten hurt for real. With that, he takes her outside and orders young master's room to be cleaned up. Alone in the crib, baby sighs in relief, but wonders what's going on. Something ain't adding up, but he puts it aside because he got more important things to do at that moment. In a massage room, this special oil is being prepared for his mom. The woman then receives a relaxing back massage from one of the housemaids, but the tranquility ends when little dude calls for milk, suddenly startling her. He crawls over to her, and the woman complains that he's here again with his huge appetite. Baby begins to feed, and mom complains, asking how long he's gonna keep feeding like this, but he needs to speed up his growth so he can talk and explain everything to his servant. A week later, time is just flying by in the fancy family mansion. And just like that, our MC now looks like a 3-year-old and has finally gotten the hang of talking. The little white-haired servant girl is still giving him some serious side-eye though. She's still convinced he's the one to blame for everything that went down with her older brother. So the kid turns to the white-haired girl and just drops the bomb. Yo, I'm your brother. The girl is like totally floored. She just freezes up and her eyes turn a deep shade of red, absolutely shook. Then he asks her, yo, that cake I bought you back then, was it fire or what? That question sends her down memory lane and she starts getting super emotional. The 3 little girls get crazy excited seeing a birthday cake right in front of them. She remembers her big brother cutting a slice of cake for his little sisters. The girl recalls him on the phone getting orders to join his team for a mission. One of the sisters tries to snatch a piece, but another one stops her like, nah sis, we gotta wait for big bro. After that, the 3 little ones are at the window watching the moon and waiting for him to come back. In that moment, the face of his old self appears reflected in the full moon like a memory. In the moon's reflection, his old face blends with his current baby face. He looks at the little girl with a gentle smile, his eyes welling up with tears. Realizing it's him, she can't hold it in anymore and just starts crying. She collapses to the floor and starts bawling her eyes out, just wailing uncontrollably. He covers her mouth like, yo, 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 chill, they're gonna hear us. With his tiny hand, he tries to muffle the girl's sobs so they don't get caught. Right after, she throws her arms around him, hugging him with all her might, feeling a mix of relief and happiness. Still crying, the little girl asks, big bro, is that really you? But the hug is so tight that he complains, sis, can't breathe. She lets him go, and our guy is a little dizzy, trying to catch his breath. Once he recovers, he gets serious and looks at his sister. So, he grabs her like, yo, how'd you even end up here? And where are the other girls at? With so many questions, the girl gets overwhelmed and asks her brother, bro, slow down, one thing at a time. Finally, the 2 of them calm down and get ready to talk about everything that's happened. The girl starts to explain, that day, you left for the mission and just never came back. In a flashback, the 3 hungry sisters are waiting, staring at the cake he bought. One of the girls wondered, why big bro taking so long? The youngest one even asks, did he dip on us? He's never been gone this long. So, white-haired girl decided to go look for him and found out about his disappearance at the mission headquarters. There, she saw another hunter's wife yelling at the snake about her husband vanishing. The guy having zero patience called her, "You're crazy, lady," and shoved her away forcefully. Another hunter shows up and accuses the man, "You went into that portal with them. You know what happened." In that moment, the little white-haired girl understood that this man was behind everything. The snake just watches with an annoyed look on his face. He unleashes his firepower, getting ready to attack his accuser. A fireball flies toward the man who's just frozen in fear by the attack. He takes a direct hit and his body is completely engulfed by the intense flames. The man drops to the ground, defeated, while the others just watch the scene doing nothing. He warns them, "Y'all really gonna spread rumors about young master? That mission was high risk, know your place." Our guy says the snake got what was coming to him for double-crossing them, and then asks, "But yo, what about the other girls?" Hearing the question about the others, the little one's expression changes, and she looks really worried. She starts crying all over again, leaving her brother totally confused. Startled by his sister's sudden reaction, he worriedly asks, "Yo, what happened to them?" Flashback to a portal ripping open and everyone is just scrambling for their lives as the invasion begins. The memory of that demonic tide has her absolutely petrified. She tears through the wrecked streets, frantically screaming the names of her other two sisters. Meanwhile, a couple of hunters stroll by, casually remarking, "Damn, that monster wave hit different this time, like it's just another Tuesday." She's left standing all alone, just watching as the city burns, completely obliterated. With tears streaming down her face, she runs aimlessly through all the chaos and destruction. The poor girl continues her search alone, picking her way through the rubble of the city, devastated by the invasion. With her hands all scraped up, she collapses to the ground, screaming her sister's names in absolute despair. That's when she remembers her brother and just breaks down, sobbing and wondering, "Big bro, where are you?" Back in the present, our baby comforts his sister, telling her, "Don't cry. We got a second chance here, aight?" His eyes flash red as he vows, "That snake? He's getting it first, I promise you that." In some dark and grimy prison, we cut to a hallway that's just splattered with stains. The snake is locked up, screaming his head off. "I'm innocent! I was just delivering a gift, I swear!" Next thing you know, he's slammed against the cell bars, a look of pure terror on his face. Because surprise, a demon materializes right behind the terrified prisoner. The snake drops to his knees, begging for his life. "Please, no, no, no," as the creature closes in. And just like that, the snake's subscription to life got canceled. With the snake out of the picture, our baby declares, "Aight, it's time to speed run this family's redemption arc." Tears still in her eyes, his sister agrees, promising, "I'll follow your strats, big bro." That's when she remembers she has a very important side quest, to take care of our baby. So, she just hoists him into the air, announcing, "Bath time." But he protests, yelling, "Yo, that's kinda sus. I'm your brother though." But the girl explains, "Nah, the devs made me your personal attendant now. It's literally my daily quest." And just like that, she starts carrying him off to the bathroom, all while he's screaming, "I didn't sign up for this! Put me down!" Cut to after bath time. Baby is lying on the floor while his sister puts away his clothes. He's thinking this is his villain origin story, getting treated like a little kid when he's technically the older brother. The girl asks him, "What's wrong?" But he just turns his face away, pouting, and doesn't answer. She gets sad at his attitude and complains, "You've never given me the cold shoulder before," hitting him with emotional damage. To avoid more conversation, he gets up and says, "Nah, I'm not tilted anymore. I got something important to ask you though." The girl smiles sweetly and tells him, "Bet, ask me whatever. I'm all ears." So he questions, "Yo, you really awakened wind element abilities?" And his sister confirms, "Yeah, I did." Our baby is floored because the earliest recorded case of an awakening was at age 12. He wonders how she managed to clutch such a feat being so young and with zero training. That's literally hacking. She just shakes her head and says, "Honestly, I don't really know how it happened." She explains, "A panel just popped up showing my stats and guided me to awaken my power." Baby is completely blown away to hear the word panel coming from her. In that instant, he remembers his own system, the one that displays his thunder abilities. He glances at the interface and wonders if her dialogue box is the same type of cheat code. Then he asks himself how his sister also got a panel and awakened so incredibly young. The plot is plotting. She notices he's zoned out and asks, "Yo, you lagging?" But he just brushes it off. He tells her, "Now that you got your abilities unlocked, you gotta grind hard and level up." With a determined look, the little girl replies, "Bet, I'ma grind like my life depends on it." He pats her on the head and says, "Out of all the sisters, you were always the most based one. That's facts." Suddenly, they both hear a knock at their bedroom door and freeze. A maid announces, "Dinner's ready. Master ordered your mother to prepare milk for you." She hands a full baby bottle to baby's sister, who just stares at it surprised. She takes the bottle and our baby walks over to her with a new strategy already forming in his mind. He says, "We gotta exploit every resource this family has to power up, and fast." The girl asks, "How are we supposed to do that? I'm already grinding as hard as I can to level up." With a mischievous grin, he tells her, "Open your mouth and I'll show you the secret meta." Although she's a little hesitant, the girl opens her mouth, curious about what her brother is cooking. He then pops the bottle into her mouth and tells her, "Drink up and see what happens. Trust the process." Following his order, she starts drinking the milk while our baby watches her intently. All of a sudden, a purple aura starts swirling around her, and she's shocked by the sensation. Confused, she asks her brother, "Yo, Why is so much power flowing into me so easily? This feels broken. Our baby explains, Mom's got a unique constitution that converts spiritual energy into this essence. It's premium loot that even elite squads would get wrecked trying to obtain during missions. But Mom can produce this essence continuously, making her an infinite farm, literally. His sister is shocked, commenting, Yo, this is straight up forbidden knowledge. The Academy never dropped this lore. Baby suspects, the noble families are gatekeeping secrets and using regular people as NPCs in their battles. It's all rigged. With a determined glare, he concludes, We gotta discover every last one of these hidden achievements, all of them. His sister then offers him the bottle, telling him, Here, get your buffs too so we can co-op this. But he refuses, telling her, Nah, you max out your stats first, hit that power cap before we move to the next quest. Then he starts walking away, his eyes fixed on his next objective. He says out loud, I'ma go claim my loot, while his sister keeps drinking from the bottle. Arriving at his mother's room, he consumes his share of the power-infused essence. The maids prepare medicinal meals to help his mother recover her energy after producing so much essence for her children. Our baby thinks to himself that the revenge arc starts now, and that he and his sister are about to break the game. As lightning crashes down over the mansion, he swears, I will turn this family completely upside down. Our baby crawls across his bedroom floor, a determined look on his face as he searches for something. Meanwhile, we get a flashback of the traitor absolutely losing it, screaming that the gift was in his hand as he frantically looks for it. Then, our baby peeks under a piece of furniture and spots the little box the traitor dropped. With a satisfied smirk, he grabs the gift, figuring it must be some legendary loot for the family. He then opens the box and an intense blue light illuminates his tiny face. Inside, he finds a large blue crystal and wonders if it's a magic beast crystal. A system panel immediately pops up, informing him that it's a rare thunder element skill crystal. Baby is confused as he had no idea skills could be absorbed instead of cultivated. The system explains that after hunting evolved beasts, there's a chance to get these rare items as drops. Our little guy is surprised that something like this even exists, but gets suspicious, asking, Yo, how you reading my mind though? The voice says it's in his consciousness, and he scoffs, saying, Bruh, I know all about these tropes from novels. This is textbook isekai. He remembers that in his past life, he was a student who was down bad for games and web novels that had systems. In those stories, the main characters speedrun their revenge arcs and get massive W's against their enemies. Furious, he yells that the system is mid and useless, but the voice claps back saying, Without me, you wouldn't have even respawned in this world. The baby pauses, processes for a moment, and has to admit the mysterious voice is spitting facts. With his arms crossed, he then questions its connection to his little sister's system. The voice denies any sort of link and urges him, You need to get swole, and fast. He agrees and locks in, knowing he needs to capitalize on every opportunity he can get. He then sits down on the floor and with intense concentration begins to absorb the crystal's energy. With that, a powerful divine energy starts flowing through his small body. A moment later, he holds out his hand and successfully summons his new skill, Lightning Spear. He's completely floored, having just acquired a skill that should have taken 10 years to master. He feels the power condensed in the spear and wonders just how cracked it really is. Without a second thought, he hurls the weapon with all his might to test out his new power. The protagonist watches as his powerful electric attack flies through the air and absolutely deletes everything in its path. The sound of the explosion gets the grandfather's attention, who comes running with the butler to see what happened. But what they find is the baby's father in his SpongeBob underwear, complaining to the baby's mom about the noise. The grandfather and the baby's little sister are completely stunned by the scene. The baby looks at the giant hole he just blasted in the mansion wall with his new skill. Furious, the grandfather demands to know who griefed the mansion, and the butler explains he heard a lightning bolt come from the room. But upon seeing his grandson, the old man's mood does a complete 180, and he lifts him up, celebrating his new divine skill. He then praises the baby's mother, thanking her for producing such a prodigy for the family. However, the baby's father seems salty about the whole situation and complains about the noise he made. At that, the grandfather flames him, saying he should be proud of his son's exceptional talent instead of being pressed about sleep. The grandfather then decides he will take his grandson to the family's annual hunting festival. A moment later, the family head asks the butler if everything is arranged for the event. The old man laughs, saying his descendants need to learn their true worth from a young age. Cradled in his mother's arms, our protagonist is confused, having no idea what quest they're about to start. And so, the group walks down a long hallway toward the location of the hunting festival. Once there, the grandfather uses his energy to open a massive circular gate in front of them. The gate opens, revealing a large, swirling vortex of bright purple energy to everyone. Standing before the dimensional portal, the family head prepares to lead the group inside. The baby is stunned, realizing the family can open dimensional portals all by themselves. He gets heated thinking about how many secrets the powerful gate keep from the weak who are just struggling to survive. The group then steps through the portal and arrives in a dense, quiet forest on the other side. While the grandfather praises him, the baby's mom complains that he never stops eating all day. Suddenly, the baby's father points to the sky and yells a warning that something is approaching fast. Everyone looks up to see a smoke trail closing in on them rapidly. Soon, a giant multi-headed serpent appears and brutally attacks a group of hunters. One hunter tries to strike the creature, but his weapon shatters like it's made of paper, while another uses a force field to defend himself. When he sees a C-rank python and a B-rank python king in a C-rank portal, the protagonist and his sister are in shock. The girl recognizes one of the hunters in danger. Just then, one of the serpents lunges toward one of the female hunters with the munchies. To everyone's surprise, the red-haired girl manages to hold the creature's mouth open with her bare hands, but she's struggling with all her might to avoid being bitten by the giant monster's sharp fangs. The hunter's leader then yells for everyone to fight as they retreat from the dangerous area. The group's leader tries to fend off the monster with a shield, but another hunter tries to attack him from behind. The red-haired girl runs and screams desperately for him to watch out, but the hunter's punch goes right through the shield, hitting the captain with full force. The force of the punch makes the hunter fighting the serpent lose his shield. At that moment, the giant serpent gets absolutely clapped by a purple lightning bolt from another hunter. Another hunter is big mad, flaming the traitor for backstabbing their captain. The traitor just hits them with the most devious smile as he charges up another attack. He ruthlessly demolishes the hunter, leaving him on 1 HP. One of the other hunters is shook, recognizing the attacker's face. He drops the lore bomb that this guy is a certified menace who's been locked up before. The criminal starts cackling like he just clutched a 1v5. He then Spartan kicks the man, sending him flying with maximum disrespect. The injured hunter gets yeeted straight into the giant serpent's mouth, which was camping the whole time. Our little protagonist watches it all with the most serious face. He remembers his past life when this same criminal yeeted his comrade to certain doom. A splash of blood appears, symbolizing the tragedy that just went down. Back then, he had to watch his whole squad get picked off one by one. The monster they were sacrificing their own teammates to emerges, looking absolutely menacing. With the most unhinged smile, the baby's father orders them to keep feeding the creature to spawn legendary loot. He then tells the criminal to rush our baby's past self without hesitation. The goon charges toward the young man, ready to deliver the final blow, but our guy pops his ability and braces for the inevitable showdown. A fist glows with crazy energy as he closes the gap. Their two fists collide in the most intense, power-packed clash. He tells us this criminal is straight up a demon who gets off on griefing people. It's revealed he was protected by the family and is now one of their hired goons. Back in the present, his past life sister wonders how they can possibly clutch this and save the red-haired girl. But our baby protagonist's eyes light up, 200 IQ play incoming. So he turns around and starts feeding again, which absolutely tilts his new mom. As our baby fills his mouth with milk, making the goofiest face, he spits everything out like a water fountain, leaving her completely stunned. Disgusted, she screams at our baby for getting her drenched and just yeets him into the air. Seeing the chaos unfold, baby's grandpa gets the angriest expression because of this absolute circus. Right then, his past life sister leaps into action. Just like that, she catches our baby mid-air, saving him from becoming a pancake. She lands safely on the ground, cradling her little brother like precious cargo. She asks if he's good, and he explains his 5-head strategy. Suddenly, our young man's father smacks his wife across the face, leaving her absolutely stunned. He then grabs her and goes off on her for being so reckless with their son. Furious, the woman says not even her own parents ever dared to try her like this. With that, she summons an ice weapon and goes full aggro on her husband, looking for payback. The man defends himself with his powers, saying she needs to learn some respect. The reincarnated siblings watch like they're spectating a PvP match unfolding right in front of them. The mother and father clash with their abilities, but a massive energy burst suddenly appears between them. Baby's grandfather shows up and the parents just freeze. The grandfather drops the wisdom that as a mother, she needs to prioritize their son and stop being so impulsive. With a furious glare, he reminds them they both carry the weight of both families on their shoulders. At that, the couple chills out and despawns their weapons while the reincarnated siblings spectate from a safe distance. The past life sister asks what the strat is now, but he tells her to relax because reinforcements are inbound. Suddenly, the young maid hears Sue's noises coming from somewhere. The butler alerts the grandfather that he detected movement coming from the nearby forest. The family also picks up on something approaching and enters defensive formation. Just then, 3 goblins emerge from the forest with the most unhinged expressions on their faces. From a bird's eye view, we see the goblins starting to close in on Baby's family. The creatures start screaming desperately, as if they're hyping themselves up for a raid. Next thing you know, the 3 monsters get absolutely deleted by wooden stakes that pierce right through them with zero mercy. Baby's father is confused, wondering how this is possible since the area was supposed to be cleared beforehand. The grandfather roasts him. This is what happens when you're out here starting bar fights instead of studying the meta. Just then, Baby's mother starts glowing with purple energy. His past life sister drops the lore that their new mom's essence is basically a beacon for demonic beasts. With that, the sounds of many goblin feet start getting louder, putting the group on high alert. Then, a whole horde of elite goblins appears before them, led by a B-rank boss. This is a raid now. One of the monsters leaps toward the family, its axe ready to strike with maximum aggression. Unfazed, the grandfather orders his squad to handle the situation immediately. And just like that, the family starts annihilating the monsters using their cracked elemental abilities. Taking advantage of all the chaos, our baby tells his past life sister it's time to dip, so the girl runs towards a cliff with her little brother in her arms. Without a second thought, his past life sister yeets herself off the cliff, free-falling at maximum velocity with our reincarnated baby. In that instant, the girl's eyes glow intensely as she activates her special ability. Using her wind power, she starts flying through the skies, carrying her brother to safety. Our baby asks when she learned to fly, and she casually mentions it was a reward from the system. Surprised by this revelation, our baby gets flustered and asks what kind of cracked quest it was. The girl reveals with a smile that the system's task was literally just to give her brother a bath. In a flashback, we see that upon completing the mission, she received the legendary flight technique as a reward. Our baby gets tilted, wondering how a system could give such an OP reward for such a basic task. The baby's little redhead past life sister is going absolutely feral against a serpent, slicing it up with her sword. She's in her element. But then, another massive serpent spawns and jumps the other hunters, absolutely demolishing their shields like they're made of cardboard. With one powerful strike, the creature sends one of the hunters flying, completely shattering her guard. Down on the ground, the woman desperately yells to her captain that they're cooked and can't keep fighting anymore. The group's captain then confronts the criminal, asking why he's griefing them like this. With the most devious smile, the traitor says he gets a kick out of hearing his victim scream. The leader asks who's pulling his strings and says that breaking the guild's agreement is literally illegal. The villain replies that laws are only for NPCs and commoners like them. Right after, he rushes towards the captain at insane speed, ready to land a devastating combo. But plot twist, he attacks one of the female hunters instead, catching her completely off guard with his cracked movement speed. Defeated, the woman begs her captain to save her from this absolute menace. Without any mercy, the traitor yeets her directly into the giant serpent's mouth like a snack delivery. The giant serpent devours the hunter without hesitation, right in front of everyone. In despair, the captain yells that the mission is a total wipe and tells everyone to dip immediately. The redhead girl is frozen solid with fear and shock from the nightmare fuel she just witnessed. Blinded by rage, the group leader charges forward with his sword, screaming that he's about to delete the traitor. He unleashes a powerful strike, but the villain moves like he's got aim assist and dodges the attack with zero effort. In an instant, the traitor counterattacks and lands a clean hit on the captain. Seeing her leader wounded, the young woman calls the man a straight-up demon and prepares to throw hands. She then throws an object at the enemy, trying to stall for time. But the traitor doesn't even flinch, since the rock the girl threw does literally nothing to him. The impact just rips part of the traitor's shirt. The villain says it's unfortunate they ran into him here because they're all about to get perma-banned from existence. He leaps towards the girl, his sharp claws ready to strike with lethal intent. Terrified, the young woman is surrounded by the shards of a shattered sword. She's cornered. At the last second, the captain throws himself in front of her, taking the fatal blow in her place. The leader falls lifeless to the ground as the traitor simply ignores him and moves on. The traitor tosses the captain's body, which gets devoured by the giant serpent. Desperate, the girl screams in pure terror at the horrifying scene she just witnessed. We see the giant serpent munching on the captain as purple lightning arcs from its body. The villain looks at the girl and says it's a shame because he wanted to add her to his collection. He wanted to turn her into one of his specimens to display like a trophy. With his blood-stained hand, he prepares to attack the girl. The villain then places his hand on her face as she cries, completely hopeless. In her final moments, the girl cries out for her siblings, saying they never got to reunite again. Suddenly, a giant lightning sword appears, and a voice says they've arrived to save her. The traitor turns and manages to block the powerful attack with his arm. The strike causes a burst of yellow energy, but the villain just swats it away like a fly. The redhead young woman looks up in surprise and calls out her white-haired past life sister's name. Just then, our baby and his past life sister land on the ground, ready for battle. The redhead girl recognizes the baby's former appearance and calls him brother. Our baby tells his past life sister he'll explain the lore dump later, but right now they've got a raid boss to deal. Meanwhile, the redhead girl is just watching him with this, "Bro, what is even happening right now?" look on her face. Facing the serpent, our baby realizes the beast has evolved by consuming awakeners, something that's never been documented in the patch notes before. At the same time, the villain looks like he's breaking free from a status effect as this intense yellow energy swirls around him. With a final push, he unleashes all his power at once, shattering whatever was holding him back in an instant. The baddie then glares at them and scoffs, asking if it isn't the young master and his little servant girl. And just like that, the trio of siblings faces their opponent. The redhead asks how they knew about her and why they had the baby with them. She needs answers. But the bad guy just ignores her question and starts plotting his next move. Our baby then realizes his enemy isn't some brain-dead NPC, but actually a pretty high IQ player. The man reveals his master plan: turn the servant girl into a mind-controlled puppet and deliver our baby to his boss. We then see the aftermath of the villain's rampage. Multiple weapons made of red energy appear hovering over the defeated hunters, revealing that the enemy has a metal-type power, allowing him to merge weapons with his own body. Our protagonist then checks their power levels and realizes the gap between them is absolutely massive. But then an idea sparks in our protagonist's mind and his eyes light up. He turns to his past life sisters and tells them to lock in and follow his lead. On the other side, the adversary gets ready to fight as a strange energy radiates from him. The villain launches a lightning-fast attack with his claws aimed straight at our baby. Seeing the danger, his past life sisters jump back and he prepares to counter. He then activates his divine lightning-type awakening, unleashing an immense yellow energy. Our protagonist uses his power to dodge the villain's attacks at super speed. The villain is absolutely shook when he sees the kid's technique, recognizing it as a forbidden move. He then remembers that a while back, he deleted someone who used that exact same skill. In his memories, he recalls the final showdown against our protagonist's past life. Connecting the dots, he realizes who the kid really is and starts cackling at the absolutely wild coincidence. However, our baby's child-sized body can't handle that much power and starts glitching out. Knowing he's only got one shot at this, he yells his sister's names to execute the real strat. The villain hears a suzz noise and snaps his head toward the sound. In that moment, the redhead past life sister appears, holding a giant boulder like it's a beach ball, ready to absolutely flatten the enemy. Without a second thought, the girl yeets the massive rock right at the villain. But the enemy dodges the attack like it's nothing, and the boulder shatters on impact like a piñata. He then notices a weird sound and a trail of green energy zipping across the ground at high speed. Suddenly, a gigantic storm of wind and dust spawns right in front of him. The one behind this attack is the white-haired past life sister using her wind ability. Even inside the tornado, the adversary is completely unfazed, saying, "Bruh, y'all really out here with these budget tactics?" Seizing the distraction, our protagonist channels his power and creates a full-strength lightning spear. Using a divine martial arts technique, he yeets the weapon with every ounce of strength his tiny body has left. The villain spins around surprised and curses our baby for being such a sneaky little tactician. As he braces for impact, the lightning spear strikes the bad guy square in the dome, severely injuring him on contact. The attack is so powerful it goes straight through the adversary and continues its path up into the sky. The spear's energy causes a massive explosion, leaving a trail of destruction in the forest. Exhausted, baby collapses, and his white-haired past life sister immediately starts flaming him for using such a reckless move. Even though he's injured, the villain just smiles and says it doesn't matter because he's going to protect the young master from the two little girls. With a creepy grin, he reveals a sharp blade ready to go full sicko mode again. Wasting no time, he dashes toward the two girls at lightning speed to delete them. The white-haired servant girl yells a warning and leaps in front of the redhead to tank the enemy's incoming attack. With a brutal blow, he lands a direct hit on the white-haired girl with insane force. The impact sends her flying, and she ends up slamming hard against a tree. The villain then stares down the redhead and tells her not to stress. He morphs his hands into sharp blades and prepares for his next zero-mercy attack. With his blades, he pins the young woman down and tells her to be good bait for his master plan. but a yellow bolt of lightning zaps in and deflects the attack, saving the girl at the very last second. The enemy then locks onto the protagonist, ready to run him through with his small dagger. He grips the weapon tightly and brings it down, fully intending to end the baby right there. The blade then pierces our baby's back. The villain sends him flying while the redhead past life sister watches in complete despair. The girl then manages to break free, grabs her injured brother, and makes a run for it. The villain clenches his fist, asking, "Yo, why you in such a rush to catch this fade?" But our protagonist, cradled in his sister's arms, replies that actually the enemy is the one about to get absolutely dumpstered. With his eye bleeding, the adversary is furious at the little kid's audacity. Suddenly, a figure appears in the sky, yelling and calling him an ungrateful mutt for daring to attack his master. This is our baby's grandfather, who's glaring at him with eyes of pure, unfiltered rage. The villain then realizes that the earlier flashy attack was actually a signal flare to ping the family's location. Our baby just smiles, confirming the galaxy brain plan he cooked up. Flashing back a bit, the family arrives at the fight's location and the butler says the young master has ghosted. The father complains that the kid can already speedrun away, and the butler informs him that the servant girl has also dipped. Furious, the head of the family yells at his squad to hurry up and locate the two of them. Just then, they spot the trail of light from our baby's attack and know exactly where to fast travel. The grandfather then uses his lightning power and flies at maximum velocity toward the signal. Arriving on the scene, the grandfather immediately reads the situation and the villain starts to panic hard. He knows he's cooked. He then thinks his only chance is to capture the protagonist to use as a hostage. He charges full speed at the siblings to try and grab them, but the redhead sister whips out a staff and prepares to counterattack to protect her brother. She unleashes a powerful blow on the enemy, who totally wasn't expecting that plot twist. The man is stunned by the girl's attack and glares at her with pure mauling energy. All of a sudden, the protagonist's father appears, absolutely fuming, and calls the villain useless for his constant L's, roasting him mid-battle. He then attacks the villain, who tries to flee, claiming, "Bro, none of this is my fault." However, the man ends up cornered by one of the area's giant beasts with nowhere left to run. Without mercy, the creature jumps him all at once, giving him zero chance to escape. After that, the serpent begins to evolve, transforming into a mighty golden creature. The butler rushes over to the children and says that our baby is stable despite the wound he took. The grandfather praises the girls and says the serpent is now ready for them to harvest its legendary loot drops. And that's when it hits our baby like a truck. The noble families are using civilians as literal NPC fodder to feed and evolve these beasts. With that, the grandfather and his son prepare to face the powerful golden creature that has emerged. The clash between them generates a gigantic explosion of red energy throughout the forest. Out of the smoke, two figures emerge as the kids spectate everything from a safe distance. Our baby then connects all the dots. The noble families are using civilians as XP farms to feed and level up these beasts. Right after, Grandpa and Dad get ready to throw hands with the powerful golden creature that just spawned. Grandpa then mentions this harvest was way better than what he was expecting to grind that day. Grandpa orders the butler to take the two girls to collect the remaining crafting materials for the warehouse. In his head, the old geezer is already scheming to mix the trash-tier items with scrap to sell off to the average casual hunters, and for the high-quality legendary items, he wants to jack up the prices and make the frontline squads pay an arm and a leg. He then hands over the poison sack for his son to use and create some important new business connections. All the while, our guy's dad just watches with the most devious grin plastered on his face. Grandpa hands over the silver snake's horn to be taken to the auction house. As for the scales, he says he's going to turn them into protective gear for his precious grandson. Hearing all this, our protagonist is left with the most confused look on his face, completely lost by their actions. With that, the butler bows before his master and agrees to follow all of his orders. However, the kid's dad steps in and asks his father to hand over the Snake King's essence. Grandpa grumbles, saying, "Bro, you've got an excellent wife and all, it would be better if your son shared with me." Our baby's dad is shook by her presence and just stares, unable to react. In his sister's arms, the protagonist looks back and stares at the man with the most serious expression. Grandpa then yeets the snake essence to the butler, who catches it out of the air with ease. Holding the energy sphere, the butler is amazed by the power it's currently radiating. The head of the family says his eldest son is leveling up and that this will come in clutch. Kneeling, the butler thanks him for his generosity and pledges eternal loyalty to the family. A few days go by and we see the luxurious mansion under a starlit night sky. In the room, our baby holds a pendant while his white-haired past life sister informs him that redhead sis is also now his maid. And just like that, the two past life sisters appear dressed in maid uniforms and smile at him. He then looks at the pendant and a system prompt informs him he's received a rank A defensive item. Seeing his expression, one of the girls asks with concern, "Yo, what's wrong, bro?" Suddenly, the baby's eyes glow and he zaps the pendant with his lightning power. He's using his lightning ability to try and overclock the pendant. A huge blast of yellow energy then shoots out from his bedroom window. The two sisters stare at our baby, completely shook by the display of power. Even with the electrical discharge, the pendant remains completely intact without a single scratch. He thinks to himself that this little experiment confirmed that beasts level up if they consume awakened ones. Our protagonist understands that the noble families use regular people as literal bait for their schemes. This way, they get their hands on powerful resources and gear that the casuals would never have access to. But what they teach at the academy is that the nobles risk their lives to protect the powerless. Remembering all this cap, our protagonist gets furious and clenches his fists. The sisters then ask, "Wait, is information really that OP?" He turns and explains, "Bruh, I'm only now starting to understand how dangerous it is when you don't know the meta." He then says, "From now on, we gotta use the family to gather more intel. We need to know what's really going on." With a determined look, the two girls agree to follow their younger brother's master plan. A moment later, Baby asks Redhead Sis why she was with that divine team. She hesitates to answer, and the white-haired sister chimes in that she wants to know why her own power is so cracked. The red-headed sister is left speechless, and the other just stares at her intently. Then the protagonist asks about the third sister, and the young woman tenses up. Upon hearing the other girl's name, the young woman is completely in shock. With tears in her eyes, she tries to explain what happened to her. She then collapses to the floor and begins to cry her eyes out, unable to stop. At that, the protagonist covers her mouth and warns her, "Yo, you can't be crying loud like that here. They'll hear us." After calming down, she sits on the bed, still very shaken by the situation. She starts to explain, "That day, white-haired sis went out to look for our brother and never came back." In a flashback, we see a hungry little redhead sis staring at a piece of cake. Her hand reaches out to grab the cherry on top of the cake. She has a sad look on her face, waiting for her siblings to come home. She then decides to go look for her brother and white-haired sis so they can come home sooner. So redhead sis starts searching through the dark house, calling out third sis's name. Scared, she runs down the dark hallway and asks her sister to stop playing around. Back in the present, the baby is shocked to learn that third sis ran away from home. She explains, "From the rooftop, I saw that the beast tide was literally caused by some villain." Our baby asks, "Wait, isn't the beast tide supposed to be like an uncontrollable natural disaster?" In her memories, she was desperately searching for third sis across the city's rooftops. She was then trying to open a door, begging for the little one to get out of there quickly. Just then, she looks to the side with an expression of pure fear and worry. On the rooftop, she spotted a mysterious man holding a staff under the full moon. The man's face was hidden in the shadows, but his eyes glowed with an intense red light. He then raised his staff, which began to glow with crazy power. With that, he slammed the staff on the ground, releasing a massive wave of energy. An enormous red magic circle then formed on the ground, illuminating the entire area. The circle then shot a beam of red light that ascended toward the dark sky. The beam tore a hole in the sky, creating a red portal. A giant reptilian eye appeared in the portal, and Redhead Sis was utterly terrified. A moment later, the mysterious red portal simply materialized in the night sky, and from it emerged several red demonic beasts ready to wreak havoc on the city. With tears in her eyes, Redhead Sis is completely traumatized just remembering that scene. In her memories, she was all alone and surrounded by enormous red demonic beasts. From the portal in the sky, countless creatures poured out, attacking everyone in sight. She explained she was being chased by a demon wolf when a panel appeared. The system then notified her that she had awakened a divine power of body cultivation. Following the system's orders, she made an incredible leap between two buildings to escape. Back in the present, she tells them she ran until she found the subjugation team that took her in. Our protagonist is stunned that another system has appeared and by all these crazy coincidences happening to them. White-haired sis says, "Yo, if we all have systems, third sis might have one too, and could still be alive." Our baby agrees and says, "We're gonna use the family's network to find clues about her. Time to investigate." Suddenly, Redhead Sis says she received a task from the system with a reward. Without any warning, she scoops her brother up in her arms, leaving him completely surprised. He's terrified and wonders, "Oh no, is this happening again?" The two sisters run off excitedly because the system's mission is literally just to give their brother a bath once more. The two sisters are excitedly running through the mansion with our baby, who's yelling his head off about their completely broken system. And just like that, they reach a massive luxurious bathroom to start the mission they were given. After the bath, they hold him and comment on what a good little baby he was, but he complains, "Y'all have changed. This isn't the squad I remember." Suddenly, the red-haired sister stops dead in her tracks, a very nervous expression washing over her face. Seeing her reaction, our baby worriedly asks, "Yo, what happened? Why you looking like that?" She then points with a terrified look on her face, revealing, "That person, that's the one who caused the beast tide." The protagonist and his white-haired sister are completely floored by the revelation they just heard. Elsewhere, we see the butler walking alongside a man with a scar on his face. Zooming in, we get a better look at the man's face, which has a very serious and intimidating gaze. In a flashback, the girl sees the same man on a rooftop using a staff to create the beast tide. In her memory, the man creates an enormous red magic circle that tears open the sky. From this portal, a giant reptilian eye appears, leaving the girl absolutely terrified. So our baby declares, "Listen, I'm the son of the future family head. Don't panic. We got this." With that, the three of them continue down the hall. While the two men walk further ahead, our baby glares at them with a serious and suspicious expression as they pass by. As they walk past him, the red-haired sister gets extremely nervous and can't hide her fear. The man with the scar notices the girl's reaction but doesn't say a single word. Getting closer, the two sisters greet the butler with forced smiles on their faces. The butler then bows to our baby, addressing him respectfully as young master. The protagonist watches the two of them walk away down the hall with a very stern look. They arrive at a door, and the butler announces that Joe King has returned to see the master of the house. Baby realizes it's the meeting room and decides to eavesdrop on their conversation. His sister gets worried and asks, "Bro, won't we get caught here?" But he tells her not to worry, seeming to have a 200 IQ play in mind for this. With the plan in motion, they sneak closer to the door. The protagonist then bursts into the room with his sisters, and a guard yells, "Yo, you can't go in there!" Inside, his grandfather is sitting at his desk with the two men who look at the scene in surprise. The sisters bow and apologize desperately, saying, "We're so sorry, we couldn't hold the baby back." But the little guy ignores all of it and runs with his arms wide open, calling for his grandpa. The head of the family dismisses the others and tells his grandson, "Come here, little one." With our baby on his lap, he talks about the family's power and asks about the new beast tides. The butler and the man with the scar listen attentively to the master's orders. The man then reports, "We've already found new groups of beasts and could drop the event at any moment." Hearing this, our young baby gets furious, realizing the academy is straight up lying and sending students into a literal death trap. In a flashback, we see a teacher saying, "The tides are a natural disaster and the awakened are protectors." The butler says, "I've already made arrangements for the guild to post missions with crazy high rewards, which will attract many teams." The grandfather praises the man, saying, "Your family has served ours for 3 generations, and you've been absolutely clutch." The butler then makes a gesture to the man with the scar who seems to get the message immediately. Without a second thought, the man kneels on the floor and says, "It's an honor to work for the family." The butler thanks him for the gift that helped his son reach peak B rank and expresses his gratitude for the master's kindness. The family head smiles and orders them, "Proceed with the beast tide plan as we arranged. Execute phase 1. The man remains kneeling and accepts his master's order without question. The grandfather also orders them to prepare expensive equipment and entertainment services for the survivors. The butler bows before his master and accepts all the given orders without hesitation. Night falls and we see the enormous and luxurious family mansion under the moonlight. Back in the room, our baby explains the family's master plan to his sisters, open portals, and use people as literal bait. He says they use the awakened to fight the beasts, allowing them to farm tons of valuable resources. His sister is outraged and asks, how can they be so cruel? Do they not see those people as human? Our baby then explains, to the nobles, they're the only humans, and everyone else is just NPCs in their game. The red-haired sister suggests, let's tell everyone about the plan. But our young man cuts her off. He says, even if we drop the truth bomb, nobody will believe us. They're too brainwashed. This leaves the two of them worried, and they ask their brother, so what's the strat here? Our baby then declares, we're going to delete the family's goons and cancel the Beast Tide event. He then calls his two sisters closer to him to explain the plan. The two girls lean in to hear what he has to say. Whispering, he tells them his master plan, and they listen with full attention. The baby asks, y'all got that? And the two of them nod in confirmation, but they're still worried, asking, can we really clutch against such a cracked enemy? Baby says, "We've got 3 weeks to prepare since the plan drops at the end of the month. That's our grinding window." He holds up his baby bottle and says, "We need to power up." But his sister is totally confused about how are we going to level up that fast? In that moment, our young baby and his white-haired sis exchange a knowing glance. Without waiting, he puts the baby bottle in the other sister's mouth, who is taken by surprise. She drinks the milk and is shocked to feel her power skyrocketing without even training. Our baby then runs off saying, "Hey, I'm gonna go get my nutrients too, gotta keep the gains coming." While they finish the milk, the baby's mother is meditating peacefully when she's suddenly interrupted by her son. She then complains, "Your appetite just keeps growing, you little gremlin, you're never satisfied." 3 weeks later, our baby wonders if he's hit his level cap while looking at a system screen, checking progression stats. The system informs him about a new skill, and he wonders if he can respawn into a host. He considers if he can restore to his current state without having to speedrun another 9-month tutorial in the womb. Furthermore, our young man realizes he can use his new skill as an offensive technique. An illustration shows how his new ability can be used to directly delete his enemies. Just then, his sisters burst through the door excitedly, saying, "Everything's all set, we're ready to go." Gathered in the room, the 3 siblings begin to discuss their plan to counter the approaching enemies. In another scene, the white-haired sister whispers, "I've already dug up everything on the man named Joe Chun, full background check done." She reveals he's a divine awakening master and literally one of the top students from his academy class. Then another maid tells them to keep it down, warning them about the danger that man represents. Back in the siblings meeting, the red-haired sister chimes in, saying, "I've also uncovered some important intel on him. Apparently, the Lord gave him a high-tier essence, pushing him to the peak of B rank." Hearing this, the white-haired sister realizes he's way stronger than the last boss we fought together. The baby then checks his own stats, noting, "I'm only just at the starting stage of C rank, still low level." He mentions redhead sis hit the peak of D rank in 3 weeks, but even together, we're still getting gapped. We're under-leveled for this raid. But the redhead perks up, telling them, "Don't stress, I unlocked a new ability after giving him a bath." Both sisters get super excited and ask, "What kind of power did you unlock? Tell us." With the most smug grin, the girl says, "My new technique has a really epic and legendary name." She then strikes a pose and yells, "The skill's name is Bloodthirsty Rush." White-haired sis is impressed by the name while the baby looks a little embarrassed. "That's actually kind of cringe, but okay." Confidently, she explains, "The technique makes me 5 times stronger for 30 seconds. She brags, "With my new power, 1 punch will be enough to send the enemy to the next dimension." Fired up, she starts shadowboxing while her sister claps enthusiastically. The baby cracks a confident smirk. He already has the strategy mapped out, but he can't help but wonder, why does the system give us such OP skills just for bathing me? Still, he's worried because their power might not be enough to beat the enemy. Seeing her brother's concern, the redhead asks, "What kind of intel did you manage to farm for the plan?" Baby then flashes the most cocky grin before revealing his ace card. He says, "My intel is absolutely crucial and clutch. I discovered the enemy will be active in the city at 1 a.m. in the morning." We then see that the baby overheard the man with the scar telling his grandfather that everything is ready for his 1 a.m. attack. Upon hearing this, the red-haired sister is completely floored by the revelation. She starts to panic, saying, "That's exactly where my Divine Awakening group's base is located. They're the target." She then yells, "The commander is in danger," and bolts to warn the others about the attack. But our young baby stops her, grabbing her arm and using a bit of his lightning power to hold her back. He then tells her, "Don't be so hasty. We still have time to clutch this and save everyone. Trust the process." With a determined look, he states, "I already have a plan to delete that villain." Both sisters get super excited, asking, "Wait, you really have a plan already? What's the play?" Our young baby then leans in and starts whispering the details of his secret strategy. He says with confidence, "We have more than enough time, and tonight we're gonna take down Joe Chun. Tonight's the night." Both sisters nod in agreement, ready for the mission, squad locked and loaded. Night falls over the city, and a full moon lights up the scene for the operation that's about to pop off. The clock on the wall strikes midnight, indicating that it's almost go time for the ambush. Dressed in black gear and masks, the 3 siblings prepare to start the operation. Someone mentions that the enemy has a cracked skill called Divine Whip. This technique allows him to transform his arms into whips, combining it with his body enhancement. With this power, he's capable of shattering even the toughest metal armor. Our trio of siblings then leaps from a rooftop, beginning their nighttime infiltration. Scurrying along the side of the building, the trio stealthily approaches their target. They then duck behind a wall and observe the enemy from a distance. On the rooftop, the man holds a staff that glows with red energy. One of the sisters gets ready to attack, but the baby stops her, telling her, "Chill, we gotta wait for the right moment. Patience is key." The villain then begins to concentrate a massive amount of power into his staff. As he does, red lightning crackles from the weapon as he prepares to unleash all its energy. Seeing the perfect opportunity, the baby yells, "Now! Hit him now!" With that, the redhead punches the ground, ripping out a huge chunk of concrete from the floor. She yeets the slab with all her might toward their opponent. The man easily dodges the attack, but the rock still grazes his face. The impact of the blow leaves him stunned for a brief moment. Furious about the surprise attack, he shouts, "Who dares to jump me?" At that moment, the other sister takes advantage of the distraction to yoink the enemy's staff. Realizing what happened, the villain whips around, furious, and prepares to attack the girl. The villain then uses his divine whip ability, striking with his transformed arm. The elongated limb shoots toward the girl at high speed, but she uses her leg to deflect the blow, and the staff to vault away from him. The villain uses his divine whip ability to try and retrieve his weapon. Suddenly, a yellow bolt of lightning appears, hurtling toward the villain with immense power. The man panics, realizing, "Oh no, I can't dodge this." Then, the lightning scores a direct hit, causing a massive explosion of energy. Seeing the result, the baby tells his sister, "Clean hit, we got him good." But the enemy emerges from the smoke, his arm completely scorched, and screams at them in pure rage. The baby and his sister are completely shocked to see that he tanked the attack. The villain threatens them, saying, "I'm gonna make you regret the day you were born. You're cooked." Without wasting a second, the adversary leaps toward the trio. Our young baby then slides back and yells, "Plan B! Switch to Plan B!" Holding the enemy's weapon, the white-haired sister readies herself for the next move. She then spins the staff with immense force, preparing for the next part of the plan, building momentum. The baby catches the staff just as the redhead and the villain face off, unleashing their combat auras. The girl starts to match the man's strength, going toe-to-toe with him. He's blown away by the girl's power and wonders, who are these kids to be so cracked at such a young age? However, the villain isn't fazed in the slightest. Just then, our main character whips out the red scepter and preps a seriously powerful skill. Then, the little guy summons a massive bolt of lightning from the heavens, crackling with devastating energy. The villain is totally clueless about what's happening and wonders, what in the world is that bizarre skill? With that, a red portal rips open in the sky and demonic claws start reaching out from it. The baby spots the danger and screams, "Everyone get out! Move now!" The villain then shoves the girl, sending her tumbling to the ground. Aggressive push. Right after, our baby hurls a baby bottle, sending it flying straight at the villain. The man blocks the bottle, but it bursts on impact, completely drenching him in milk. The villain is just baffled, trying to process, why was I just attacked with a baby bottle? A red beast appears, and the villain laughs, saying, "Y'all just helped me finish my mission like a bunch of NPCs, thanks for the assist." But up in the sky, a yellow light begins to glow, and the villain looks up, intrigued. Suddenly, a beam of golden energy zips by and strikes the beast that had just bitten the villain, but he easily shakes the beast off, minor inconvenience. The villain says, "Since y'all helped me complete my quest, I'm gonna dip. Peace out." Just then, the man realizes, wait, this is a trap. I've been baited. Blue energy arrows start flying toward him. A pack of red wolves also charges in his direction. The villain then scoffs, asking, "Y'all really think this budget setup is enough to stop me?" With that, the wolves pounce on him while he's busy dodging the energy arrows. Our main character just stands there watching as the villain closes in for a direct attack. The two girls look worried. The villain dashes forward at high speed to attack our baby with the wolves hot on his heels. The enemy laughs and says, "This kid really thinks he can fool me with such a weak bait play." He had led the pack right towards our baby. The girls scream in despair for their brother who's about to be mauled by the animals. But our baby shouts, "Don't come closer! Stay back!" The villain is intrigued when he hears the baby's voice, wondering, where have I heard that voice before? At that, he turns to look at the little guy, trying to place that familiar voice. The villain is absolutely stunned when he finally recognizes the main character's voice. "Wait, it's you!" And just like that, the wolves ignore the baby and leap straight for the villain. The milk was bait. The villain screams, "Yo, why are the wolves only chasing me and not the kid?" And things get more and more complicated until the monsters finally delete him, overwhelmed by numbers. The small main character pulls his scepter from the ground. The red lightning in the sky vanishes, and on the ground, all that's left are the remains of the villain for the wolves to clean up. The sisters run over, worried, calling out to our baby who is completely exhausted. At that moment, the pack of red wolves turns its attention to our baby. The two girls immediately jump in front of the little guy to protect him. The redheaded sister shouts excitedly, "Vice Captain, you're here!" From above, a woman with purple hair descends with her team, ready for combat. Our baby says with relief, "Mission complete, we can finally dip, let's go home." The next day, at a luxurious mansion, someone is screaming their head off. Grandpa is on his feet fuming while another gentleman is kneeling. The servant is in tears, begging our baby's grandpa for forgiveness, saying, "We failed in our duties. Please forgive us." The boss yells, "That villain ruined everything at a critical moment." The butler asks the master, "Please calm down. I will investigate everything and provide an explanation." With a trembling hand, the older man seems to relax a bit, but he's still incredibly ticked off. The master says, "The family will avenge his son's fall, and I will not forgive the traitor." The servant thanks the boss and promises, "I will do everything to find out who's behind the attack." Just then, a woman opens the door and calls for the butler, who is still kneeling on the floor. Our baby's mother complains, "The baby is hungrier than before, and I had plans to go shopping. My schedule is ruined." Grandpa laughs and says, "It's normal for him to eat more since he's a growing baby. Kids be like that." He continues saying, "The little baby is the hope for both families' futures. He's our investment." Grandpa then mentions, "A few families have asked to arrange a marriage for the child." The mother is surprised, wondering, "How is my son already so popular with the other families?" Grandpa explains, "The baby's reputation has spread and I must deal with this matter ASAP." The main character is shocked, wondering, "What kind of weird arranged marriage scheme is this? I'm literally a baby." The two girls overhear the conversation and are stunned by the news of their brother's engagement. Our little guy closes his eyes and nods, confirming that what they heard is true. The sisters don't seem too happy about the news of him getting engaged, jealousy detected. The white-haired girl asks, "Are you really gonna marry the descendants of those corrupt families?" Our baby smiles and says, "Nah, I'd never abandon y'all, and I don't want those spoiled brats around anyway." The girls smile, relieved and happy to hear his promise. Outside, noble families arrive at the mansion, bringing gifts for the engagement. The butler organizes the preparations, giving orders to ensure everything is perfect for the event. The main character's mother complains to Grandpa, "The butler could have handled everything himself. Why do I have to do this?" The head grandpa says, "My own useless son can't manage these affairs, so you need to learn how to be the matriarch." At that moment, a maid hurries down the hallway towards the butler. The young woman approaches the servant and whispers in his ear, secret intel shared. The butler rushes over to his grandpa, who is seated. The servant then leans in and whispers in the boss's ear about what he just found out. Grandpa's expression turns serious and thoughtful. He then stands up and invites his daughter-in-law, "Come in and join the engagement meeting. You need to be present." The woman walks in holding our baby in her arms. The butler announces, "A sealed letter from the second young master has arrived straight from the imperial capital." With a serious look on his face, the baby's grandfather takes the correspondence. He then hands the letter to our protagonist's mom, who's holding him in her lap. Our baby thinks to himself that sealed letters are how noble families pass along important classified information. He then reaches out for the letter, making little baby noises. He gathers that the higher-ups want to make a move on the family, but our little guy couldn't care less. "Not my problem right now." He lunges toward his mom, ready for more milk, hunger taking over. She chides him, "Eat more slowly, you little gremlin." The elder ignores the scene and asks his daughter-in-law, "What's your take on the letter's contents?" She wonders, why are the higher-ups suddenly interested in the family, especially since we're already on the decline? The family head just smiles, saying, "They made a mistake, and now their businesses are ripe for the taking." He then orders, "The family's marriage proposal party is not to return. Cut them off." We see our young man giving his bottle to his red-headed sister. Just then, his other sister runs into the room, calling out for both of them. Emergency alert. He quickly shoves the bottle into his other sister's mouth. He then asks, "Why are you so worked up? Drink some milk to recover." The sister drinks with a satisfied look on her face. She then hands the bottle back to her brother, saying, "I saw third sis. She's alive." The protagonist is shocked and asks, "Where is she?" The sister replies, "She's at the Ling family's marriage proposal party. That's the location." Then, in a flashback, the older sister, who is serving at the event, notices that the Ling family has just arrived. She sees their carriage pulling up, and one of the girls gets ready to serve. Young third sis is inside the carriage wearing a maid's dress. The protagonist is stunned when he hears the Ling family's name. Seeing their brother's reaction, the two girls ask, "Bro, what's wrong?" Our baby angrily says, "The family is going to crush the Ling family. They're the target." He frantically yells, "Find a way to get third sis out of there now!" He tries to make a run for it, but his mother suddenly appears and blocks his path. With a stern expression, his mother asks, "Where do you think you're going this time?" His mom picks him up, saying, "You can't run off because your grandpa ordered you to be brought to the meeting." The redhead asks, "What should we do?" The white-haired sister says, "We need to come up with a strategy first. Can't rush this." At that moment, another maid shows up and calls for the two of them to help the butler with the arrangements. The two young women agree, even though they're still on edge. The grandfather thanks the families and announces, "Only 3 young ladies are compatible with my grandson." The 3 family representatives bow, honored by the opportunity for a union. The elder states skill is essential, and the winner of a special test will marry the baby. Our baby is confused, having no idea what this skill test is all about. We then see the 3 families chosen for the test: Yi family, Nangong, and the Ling family. The grandfather grumbles that the Ling family sent a concubine's daughter to the event. With fury in his eyes, he thinks, "I only allowed it to divert their attention." The protagonist gets anxious, thinking, "I can only count on my 2 sisters to clutch this. They're my only hope." He then buries his face into his mother, which really gets on her nerves. She yells at him, but our young man just thinks, "I'm drinking some milk to calm down." The grandfather laughs, telling her, "Let him drink more since his development is unusual. He's built different." He adds, "When the baby grows up and gets tested in the capital, you'll get all the credit." Exhausted, the mother complains, "He's a little bottomless troublemaker who only knows how to drink." Elsewhere, the butler enters a room where the head of the family is sitting alone. The servant then informs him the Ling girl will perish in the test and their entire party will be eliminated. With a satisfied look, the family leader says, "The plan is simply excellent." Overhearing the sinister plot, our baby goes into a full-blown panic, thinking about his third sis. Meanwhile, white-haired sister is rushing through the mansion's hall with a tray of fruit. Red-headed sister is also hurrying, complaining, "I'm too busy and have no way to slip away." And so, the 2 sisters rush through the hall, carrying out their duties, grinding the NPC tasks. They then look at each other, extremely worried, wondering, what are we going to do now? The scene then shifts to the family's private arena, which looks like a massive coliseum. The grandfather, the mother holding our young man, and the butler are all seated in a private box, watching everything. The butler then announces, "The test is about to begin," and calls for the young lady from the Nangong family. From their seats, they watch as the first contender enters the enormous arena. We see the young lady from the Nangong family in her gothic dress at the arena's entrance. The protagonist's grandfather praises the competitor, saying, "She is beautiful and skilled in combat." However, our baby's mother doesn't seem impressed by the girl's appearance at all. The elder says, "Not every noble girl grows up to be a prize like you. You're top tier." She agrees, adding, "A daughter-in-law should be someone who can share our burdens in the future." The butler then calls for the second young lady from the Yi family to present herself in the arena. At that moment, a hand shoots up and a voice eagerly answers the call. Right after, a blonde girl runs excitedly to the center of the arena. She then approaches the other competitor with a big smile on her face. She bows to the family and formally introduces herself. Seeing this, the protagonist's mother remarks, "The young lady certainly knows how to play the part to win favor." The butler then announces, "The third daughter from the Ling family, final contestant, a girl with short hair and simple clothes, begins to walk toward the arena. She calmly enters the area looking very different from the other 2 competitors." With that, the 3 contenders are finally gathered in the grand combat arena. Our baby's grandfather and mother watch the 3 girls with serious expressions. Our baby wonders, is this the person third sis is with? And how did she end up here? In the arena, the 3 young women face each other, ready to begin the skill test. The short-haired girl then gets the other 2's attention with a simple, "Yo." In response, the blonde girl points at her angrily, asking, "Is that any way for a noble lady to act? Show some class." Hanging upside down, our baby seems pretty stressed about this whole bizarre situation. "How did I end up here?" Then we see the short-haired girl holding him by the foot like it's no big deal. With a smile, she calls him hubby and says, "I'll be under your care from now on. We're a package deal." Our guy flips out and yells, "Put me down right now!" struggling to escape. At that moment, his 3 sisters show up, screaming, "Let go of our baby brother." The 3 sisters point at the girl, their faces filled with pure rage. The youngest sister then cheerfully calls out her brother's name along with the other 2. Reunion moment. Seeing all this, our protagonist wonders, how did things get so messed up? Flashing back a few hours, we see the family arena where the skill test was taking place. There, the purple-haired girl faces off against a demonic boar that's charging at her full tilt. The young woman then readies her sword, which begins to glow. She grips the hilt of the weapon tightly, preparing to strike the beast in front of her. With a single slash, the girl easily cleaves the monster clean in two. After the battle, she stands in the arena with the remains of the creature behind her. The grandfather then remarks she's pretty skilled, especially since she hasn't had a divine awakening and is just using the family sword. Our guy reflects on the girl's strength and how she's fighting over an arranged marriage. With that, the second round begins, and the representative from the Ye family enters the arena. With a wicked grin and glowing eyes, she tells the beast, "Go to a better place, you're about to get sent." Her power directly attacks the creature's brain with a strange pink energy. The beast gets confused by the attack and starts running in circles around the arena. Influenced by the power, the animal runs wild away from the blonde competitor. It ends up slamming full force into the arena wall with tremendous power. The impact is so brutal that the creature is taken out instantly. The beast's body then lies lifeless on the arena floor, eliminated. Our baby and his sisters watch the whole thing, completely blown away by the girl's power. The competitor then waves to the crowd and announces, "I've cleared the challenge, easy clap." The baby's mom then asks the butler, "What was that strange power?" He explains, "It's her family's divine awakening, a type of mental interference." This worries the woman, who thinks the girl will manipulate the whole family in the future. She's a threat. The grandfather says, "It's no problem as long as a divine awakening is of a higher level. We can counter it." Our baby thinks about how his mom's milk boosts his power and wonders, what other secrets are these noble families hiding? Shortly after, the next participant from the Ling family is announced and enters the arena. The purple-haired girl watches the new competitor enter the arena with a serious expression. The blonde girl taunts her opponent, saying, "The Ling family must have been scraping the bottom of the barrel. Y'all really sent this?" At this, the baby's mom gets angry and calls the blonde competitor a rude little brat. The little guy's sisters get very worried when they see who is with the Ling family. They watch from above, nervous expressions on their faces, stress levels rising. Then we see that their youngest sister is dressed as a maid among the Ling group. The protagonist panics because he knows, if the Ling competitor fails, my sister will go down with her. The short-haired girl now faces a giant demonic boar in the combat arena. Our young man is shocked and wonders, is just standing there all she's going to do? She's not even moving. The grandfather and the butler exchange mischievous glances, looking like they've got a sinister plan in mind. The huge monster prepares to attack the girl, while the family watches from their luxury box. Our guy's mom gets scared, realizing the plan was for the beast to take out the competitor. This is a setup. The grandfather explains, "To eliminate a target, you have to make the competition look like an accident." With that, he points to the arena, telling his daughter-in-law, "Just watch what happens. Enjoy the show." The beast charges full speed in the girl's direction, but she remains completely still, not moving an inch. Then, with a smug smile, the competitor wonders, "Is that all the beast has got? That's it?" The monster leaps to attack, but she conjures a blue defensive magic to block the assault, stopping the beast's attack with just one finger, literal one-finger block. At that moment, she uses her power and lands a punch with a blue aura right on the monster. The girl stares down the beast with a look full of determination. The creature then roars in pain as a fiery energy starts pouring out of its body. The animal is completely engulfed in flames as the competitor backs away. The grandfather and the butler are dumbfounded by the scene they just witnessed in the arena. The beast starts to glow and evolves into a C-rank mutant boar king. The grandfather seems to understand the situation while the rest of the family just watches. The blonde competitor laughs, satisfied. "With the monster's evolution, I have one less rival. She's cooked." But the purple-haired girl looks thoughtful, observing everything with a very serious expression. Seeing the situation, our protagonist and his sisters are in a total panic. Our baby thinks, "To avoid being discovered, I'll have to use my secret move. Time for the clutch play." With that, he starts feeding from his mother, who complains, "Your timing is terrible, not now." Right after, he spits out all the milk he had just drunk. Furious, his mom pushes him away and yells, "You spit all over me again? Are you kidding?" The liquid flies across the arena and catches the attention of the monster down below. The creature then smells the essence and immediately becomes interested in it. The giant boar rushes towards the woman surrounded by a pink energy. His mom is completely shocked with no idea what's happening again. "Why is it coming at me?" She gets ready to yeet the baby and the two sisters prepare to fight the approaching beast, defensive formation. But the Ling girl says, "Leave it to me, I got this." Using her power, she summons several thorns that shoot out of the ground at high speed. The thorns then wrap around the boar's body, completely immobilizing it. The grandfather and the butler watch it all with surprised expressions on their faces. She can do that? The mom is also stunned and wonders, what kind of wood-based divine awakening is that? The grandfather says, "It's interesting, but still not as good as my grandson's." The young competitor then looks at her hand, now covered in red thorns, and wonders, "What is this power called? I don't even know." The purple-haired girl also seems surprised to see her opponent's ability. As for the blonde competitor, she's disgusted and says, "There's no way I'd want to be wrapped up in that. You, gross." The grandfather explains, this ability can take down higher-rank creatures by draining their essence. It's a vampire build. The power drains all the life from the boar, turning it into a skeleton. Life drain complete. The butler asks, "What should we do with her?" But the head of the family says, "I have a better idea. Change of plans." He then looks at his grandson, who is in his mother's arms with his two sisters. His plan is to make the girl his grandson's bride-to-be to get his hands on the Ling family's resources. The red-headed sister screams, "Let our hero go!" White-haired sister asks the youngest, "How did you end up with the huntress? What happened?" Little third sister looks like she's about to cry and can't answer. Because of this, the redhead starts to lecture the little one for disappearing. The little one feels the light taps she got from her older sister. Our protagonist then cuts them off, saying, "Now is not the time. The family is about to get completely wiped out. We have bigger problems." The huntress replies with a smile, saying, "I already knew that, been aware the whole time." Our boy and his sisters are stunned. "Wait, what?" The girl from the other family says, "I don't have much time and need to tell you something important. Listen up." They all listen intently, full attention mode. She asks, "Have you already awakened your systems?" The protagonist and his sisters are frozen by the question, but they all nod their heads, confirming it. She explains, "You must have gained strange powers and abilities, stuff that shouldn't be possible." His future wife smiles and asks, "Do you really believe in miracles?" In a cute way, they all shake their heads. No, reality check. The future wife hugs little third sister and says, "Every miracle comes with a terrible price. Nothing's free in this world." The trio is in shock, minds blown. Little third sister snuggles into the huntress's lap, seeking comfort. Our main character then asks, "What do you mean by that?" The young woman reveals, the little girl lost her beloved siblings and was left all alone. Total tragedy. In a flash, third sister sees her sisters being taken away. All alone, she discovers that her divine awakening was the power to steal abilities. With this, she could yoink the divine awakening and skills of other people. And so in this chaotic world, she became a villain feared by everyone. But in the end, she found a way to go back to the past, giving up all her power, just to return and save the people she loved most. MC is shocked and asks, "Was little third sis really reborn, like full isekai style?" The small girl just nods shyly. "It's true." The huntress laughs and says, "The little girl is a ruthless demon. She was absolutely terrifying." Third sister in her past life as a powerful villain was feared by all. The young wife says, "The system interface is a mental projection from third sis." The three siblings look at their system screens trying to understand. She continues explaining, "Every time you use the system, it drains third sis's power. You're literally leeching off her." As she says this, a seated little third sister releases an aura. The divine awakening abilities given to them are the result of her research. In her past life, she went through near-fatal divine activations to achieve this. Our hero then asks, "What about my divine awakening? How did she get it?" The young woman explains, "Third sis sacrificed her power to save you from danger. She carried you. To do that, she infiltrated the capital's inner circle and defeated the head of the Mu family. She had to fight and go through many hardships to obtain that power." With this revelation, they all run over to third sister. They all pull little third sister into a group hug. Reunion complete. All huddled together, they get emotional in a beautiful, sweet scene. Third sister cries with happiness to be with her siblings again. "I finally found you guys." We see a sketchy-looking bar as a strange tune plays, shifty location. Inside the joint, there's a blonde girl pole dancing. Just then, a blonde guy shows up. The girl with heterochromia thanks the guy, calling him bro. Suddenly, the woman swings her leg up near the blonde guy's face. Right after, a green-haired guy comes over and asks, "Has Blondie lost his mind? What's he doing?" He then gets serious and realizes something is wrong with him. At that moment, the guy starts to feel dizzy. The duo then reveals their true intentions with an evil smile. The blonde guy begs them, "Please don't do anything to me, I'll cooperate." In a basement, we see Blondie tied up while the woman from before torments him. She holds a weapon in her hand and smiles at the tied-up guy. A mysterious butler appears and says, "You'd better spill everything without hiding any details." The butler puts on an intimidating face. The blonde guy pleads for his life and explains, My mission was to stop a wave of beasts. That's all I was doing. The old man gets furious and says, "You shouldn't have messed with my son." Desperate, the blonde guy says, "It wasn't me, it was 3 masked people. I'm innocent." The old man gets curious and asks, "Who were they? Where did they come from? What were their names?" The guy says, "I don't know because I was far away and only saw 2 girls and a child. That's all I got." The old man is shocked to hear 2 girls and a child? That's the description? He then asks, "What team are you on and who's your captain?" The old man in the suit is startled to hear he's part of the red pomegranate team. That squad? Recognition triggered. With this information, he remembers a portal with very powerful creatures. The man then turns and tells the woman from before, "Take care of the guy, you know what to do." The prisoner screams in desperation, saying, "You broke your promise to let me go. You lied." Mercilessly, the blonde guy gets smacked in the face with a platform shoe. The woman then keeps her foot on his face, asserting dominance. The old man says, "I promised not to torment you, but I needed to make an example out of you. Business is business." He turns and leaves the basement. In an instant, he appears on top of a building in the middle of the night. The man walks across the rooftop, investigating. He looks down, seeing some cracks on the ground. The old man crouches down and starts analyzing the cracks. He runs his hand over the spot, examining closely. He goes to another part of the building to check it out. After analyzing it, he comes to a conclusion. We see a flashback of him holding the protagonist's little sister while she was injured, and he remembers there was something written there. He then thinks, maybe the baby isn't just a baby as everyone thinks. I need to confirm my theory. Time to investigate further. The scene takes us back to the bar with a neon sign. Inside, a blonde woman is putting on a dance for the customers. A green-haired guy walks into a room and addresses our baby's butler, calling him Lord. The butler, who was sipping something warm, asks, "Have you found any new information? What's the intel?" With that, the man shows a photo and says, "It was pretty tough tracking this target, hard to find." He reveals, the target was some D-ranked scrub who lived with 3 sisters and got deleted 6 months ago. In a close-up, we see the photo of our baby in his past life, looking happy with the 3 girls. The Lord looks at the photograph and confirms, all of it happened half a year ago. He then recalls, this was around the time the baby's mom and dad went to hunt the Liu family's beast. We then see several images from the mission that resulted in our baby's downfall and the emergence of a monster. The butler then remembers the 2 girls who protected our young man and the treasure he managed to get. Back in the present, the green-haired guy receives a brightly glowing blue orb of energy. He offers the item to his boss and thanks him. The butler then takes his leave, and with a serious look vows, "I will avenge my son." After that, the scene cuts to a baby bottle full of milk on a table. In the room, one of the sisters asks, "What's wrong with our young man? Why is he just sitting there staring at the baby bottle?" The sister looks at him with a very attentive expression. The baby wonders, why do normal people only reach the peak of B rank, while nobles can go beyond? His sister kneels down and explains, the human limit really is B rank and the system was created by the noble houses. It's all rigged. She then reveals, the goal was to create the illusion that they are superior and are meant to rule over everyone else. The 2 are shocked by the revelation, and she says, I found this out in my past life. In a flashback, we see that the little girl was a powerful villainess, and that the families in the capital know the secret to reaching S rank. She continues, explaining, the 8 great clans that control everything are hiding secrets to an even greater evolution. Our baby is surprised and asks, what exists beyond S rank? There's more? The girl angrily replies, I don't know, and they use the awakened like human power plants to fuel their own power. She then says, I wanted to destroy the world but found a way to save my brother and came back with the huntress. The baby takes her hands and promises, I'll never leave you alone again. We're in this together. With that, his sister says, me and the others will fight by your side. She smiles with tears in her eyes as our baby comforts her. But suddenly, our baby's fiance kicks the door open and says, your cute little moment is about to be interrupted by a major crisis. Our boy and his sister are startled by the interruption and wonder, what happened? What's the emergency? The fiancé explains, the old butler from the Liu family just brought someone over. Hearing this news, the 2 siblings look at each other very concerned. She then reveals with a smirk, guy claims to be the baby's mom's childhood friend. Our young man then asks, what does that information have to do with a crisis? I don't get it. His fiancé replies, the butler, bringing a friend of Lady Liu, is something very fishy. Elsewhere, we see the fiancé being taught by a maid who says, you must learn proper etiquette. The stern-looking employee informs her, we will begin your training with posture, but the fiancé seems pretty bored and replies without much enthusiasm, yeah, I get it, whatever. Not interested. The maid then scolds her, "Stop putting your hands in your pockets. That's against the house rules." While in the background, guards are dragging a young man away. In a close-up, we see the silver-haired man screaming in anger as he's being hauled off by security. The maid says, "Distractions like this are normal and nothing is more important than the engagement." Tired of it all, the fiancé just sighs and replies, "I got the message. Chill. Understood." With that, the fiancé discreetly flicks a small red object from her hand. The object then flies at high speed toward the man being dragged away. The item sticks to the collar of his shirt. Immediately after, a small white flower sprouts from the object, becoming a listening device. The fiancé smiles as an identical flower appears on her ear for her to listen in. Through the flower, she hears the man cursing out the butler and demanding to know, "Who sent you? What's going on?" After her spying session, the fiancé returns to the room and faces the two siblings. Our baby smiles and asks, "The phantom bloodvine can also be used for spying?" That's actually cracked. With a smile, she says, "Me and third sis were a famous assassin duo. We had a whole reputation." The protagonist's sister then asks, "What information did you manage to get?" She then asks, "Is the guy your mom's lover? Does she have a lot of affairs?" Our boy has a very surprised expression upon hearing the question. He then confirms it, remembering, "I saw her with her lover, even when I was just a fetus. I've been knowing." The young man recalls, "Afterwards, she would always take me out just to meet up with the guy." We see his mother walking with our baby in her arms, looking around cautiously. He sees his mother being pulled into a fitting room by this man. The man hugs her and she complains, "The kid won't stop eating and is just so much work." Right after that, the two start to get very close. Meanwhile, our baby has an incredibly awkward expression on his face. Back in the present, his fiancé says, "This is normal, and your dad has lovers too." The protagonist then wonders, why would the butler lock the guy up if this is so common? Doesn't add up. Faced with this question, his sister also becomes very pensive about the whole situation. She then looks at our young man's fiancé, hoping for an answer to the mystery. The sister says, maybe the Liu family suspects he isn't their real son, legitimacy questioned. His fiancé agrees and says, it's very likely as there would be no other reason to bring him in. With this revelation, our baby crosses his arms with a really annoyed look on his face. But a moment later, he breaks into a very confident smirk for the girls. He then tells his sister, "Don't worry because I have your reincarnation ability. We got the cheat codes." His sister stares at him, surprised, her face blushing at his confidence. The sister then smiles and nods, agreeing with his assessment. But at that moment, the bedroom door suddenly flies open, interrupting the trio's conversation. Yo, that's where this chaos wraps up. If you want more dumb but peak content, hit that sub button and drop a comment before you forget, like your ex did. Aight, peace out.